Let's talk about connecting with your children today, especially during those transition periods when they are growing and learning and stretching and discovering who they are. Hi, I'm Kenna. I help parents inspire an environment of learning in their homes. I'm glad you're here. I think as parents, when we have our little babies, it's easy to show love and respect to them in all the ways, right? Through talking to them, through gazing into their eyes, through touch and hugs and snuggles, through bonding in so many ways, right? The smell of the mother, the smell of the baby. And I think as our kids get older, it's important to still connect on every level with our children using all five senses. And that's kind of what I'm couching this in today, is using the five senses and how to use the five senses to connect with your kids. Throughout childhood, our children have transition periods, those moments when they are really growing and stretching and discovering who they are. I think the first one happens around 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old, and that's why they have the connotation, the terrible twos. It's because they're testing things, they're trying to figure out what they believe, what their boundaries are, right? And it's in the 2-year-old way. And they go throughout this at different stages throughout their life. Obviously in the teenage years, they go through this, right? Where they're discovering who they are and reaching out and stretching in ways they never have before, certainly during the teenage years. And I've also noticed it at other times. For my kids, I've noticed it around 7 years old. I've noticed it around 11, 15, 18. Like, you're not done, right? Even at 18, I feel like there is a moment when you are discovering and becoming and stretching out, right? And I think the overarching question in our children's mind during those moments of transition, those moments of stretching and growing and discovering and figuring out new things, their question is, do you still love me? I knew you loved me when I was a baby. Do you still love me? I knew you loved me when I was a kid. Do you still love me as a teenager? I think that's the question. Am I enough? Do you still love me? Those are the questions in these transition periods, and they also feel like the periods where our children are hardest to get along with. So I think in those moments, when they're in the transition periods, it's so important to find ways to connect with them on the level that is reachable to them and appropriate, and in ways that speak to them, in ways that tell them that you love them. And I personally think that if you encompass the five senses in this, then you cover all love languages and you cover all areas, and it's a way for you really to share that message with your kids that you care about them. And it doesn't have to be difficult. Let's start with the sense of touch. When they are babies, we hold them a lot, right? We hold them all the time. We have to help them so much with everything that there's a lot of touching that is involved. When they're toddlers, I think, it's really natural to give lots of hugs, and especially when they come to you with their aches and little problems, it's easy to hug them better. And sometimes as they get older, they don't come to us as much for those things. Hopefully they do, right? But the beautiful thing about touch is that there doesn't have to be any words said to give a message that I love you, I still love you, and you are enough. I respect you, I believe in you, I love you. And it can be as simple as a little touch and squeeze on the shoulder as you pass by them. Say they're sitting on the couch reading a book. You see them there. You go sit by them for a few minutes, squeeze their knee, and walk away. No words spoken. But the unspoken message is clear, right? That mom has time for me, mom cares about me. So touch is a great one, right? A passing touch, an arm around their shoulder, a quick hug, a back scratch, rubbing their hair. All of those things are no words necessary, easy ways to just start to heal a relationship that doesn't feel like it has, that you've given them that message. Every mother loves their child. Not every child knows that. I think they do, actually, deep down. But this is, touch is a really simple starter way to bridge a gap if you feel like there's a gap there. I think it's a really easy way to just start because it doesn't take words and it doesn't take a lot of time. But it is an unspoken message that I care about you. Let's talk about hearing. This one takes a little more time, but of course it's so important, because if we really listen to our kids, if we really hear them, then we are going to be able to help them when they need help. And we're going to be able to understand them, understand their struggles. We want to be known for active listening, right? For the real empathetic listening. Not always possible, right? And we can also be known for listening while we do things. That's the multitask listening. And I think sometimes it's necessary, right? But having moments of your day, of your week, that you just know that it's okay to pause and look your child in the eye while they're talking sends a message, a clear message that they matter, that you care, and that you believe in them, right? Enough to give up of your precious time, that's something. So watch for cues. You know, sometimes this can be scheduled. Interviews with mom, right? That can be scheduled. But also they don't have to be. It also just, you need to use your intuition to know when is the time, the right time. And use that intuition to pay attention, and when they have something to say, if you have time, right? If you make time, then that will give a huge, huge message to your kids that they matter. And then as you listen, right, you're not listening with the perspective of solving it. You're not listening with the perspective of trying to, you're not putting your perspective on it at all, actually. You want to see it from their perspective. As in, a 5-year-old's problem is usually very solvable, very small, compared to an adult problem. We don't want to be comparing their woes and worries to our woes and worries and minimize their woes and worries. Does that make sense? You reach them right where they are, and you recognize that what they're feeling is valid and real, and you empathize with them and let them feel the feelings. And then afterwards, you can help solve if that's what they would like to do. But your first job, seriously, is just to listen and to seek to truly understand where they're coming from. When we talk about taste, I'm going to talk about family dinner. Family dinner is beautiful on a lot of levels, right? Because food is involved. That's the taste part. But it's also a gathering time, an informal gathering time when you can gather together and just have conversation that flows, and you can check in with the day and see how the day is going. You can kind of read their moods at dinner time. You can read their stress level at dinner time. Just having a time when you gather together as a family, I think, is really good for gauging the health of your family, right? And to gauge the feeling that's going on in everyone's life. And when food is involved, it actually creates a stronger memory in the brain. But nothing can compare with smell for creating memories in the brain. So this can go along with family dinner, and it can go along with other things. But let's talk about smell for a minute, because smell is the only sense that we have that goes straight to the hippocampus. It goes straight to the limbic part of our brain that isn't the thinking part. It's actually where memories are stored. And so smell is very intricately associated with memory. If you have a smell while you're learning, then it can actually create a stronger memory within your brain. So smell, just incorporating smells of, poetry tea time, smells of the first rain of the season that you guys always run out into if you want to, or the smell of fresh bread baking. All of these things can add to a connectiveness of our home. And so I connected that with family dinner as well, because I think family dinner has the smell that links it to the memory center of our brain. And it also has the food, which just makes it a casual gathering of conversation, less formal, right? And just that habit of gathering together for those things can be very building for a family and for connecting with our kids. As far as sight goes, right? Just showing them that we care about them by really seeing them, I think, is a way that we can connect. Having eye contact with your children with a smile is an amazingly connective experience that I think everyone should try, actually. I think it can do wonders. If your child does not meet your eyes, feels uncomfortable meeting your eyes, Try other things. That one will come. It will come. I think those moments, though, when you take a moment just to look into their eyes and smile, to look into their eyes as you pass by, to look into their eyes when they're speaking to you, those are connecting moments, eye to eye. So there you have it. Through the 5 senses, ways to connect with your kids, especially parents, in those transition times when your kids are asking, do you still love me? Am I enough? We can answer with all the 5 senses. I see you. I hear you. I care. You've got this.